apologies. Yesterday, we had a commencement of this interaction down at conference room B. And just as we had started to receive the minister's submission, we took note of the minister's request that she needed a bit more time to reorganize her submission so that it can be able to address the intent and purpose of this committee. Honorable colleagues, for those of you that were not there yesterday, we are in the process of a continuation of hearing witness submissions in respect to a petition by Tibet Hima Mining Co regarding the alleged unfair termination of their concession with the government of Uganda by the Minister of State for Finance, Planning and Economic Development in charge of investment and privatization. I also communicated to the members yesterday that we had heard from the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. We have also heard from the petitioners and their legal counsel. We heard from the Ministry of Energy, but from yesterday's interaction, we probably will have to hear them back before us. We will also get an opportunity to interact with the Land Attorney General, and from the conversations that may also ensue today and subsequently, we might also listen to other people. It is in our plan to get submissions from Kilembe Mines Limited. So whereas the CEO is an officer under the Ministry of Finance because of the reporting system, he will still need to give us additional information as Kilembe Mines Limited, because Kilembe Mines Limited, first of all, has a memorandum of understanding with the petitioner, but also two, they have been responsible for the mines since the time of its inception. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to give the opportunity to the minister to make her submission. However, I invite you colleagues to accord her a bit of time so that probably she can give us a coherent and a flowing submission. What you do is you take notes and make a few comments on paper of what you would like to later put back to the minister. However, this does not mean that you've been gagged. If in the course of her submission there is a matter that is a bit of pointers of some of the meetings and correspondences between her ministry and some of the other authorities in government, and this committee is very much interested to receive that as part of the information that will help report writing. So if you are ready with them, we'll also be happy to get them. If it is not sufficiently prepared today, we will give you time to organize and then you furnish us with the same. So before we hand over to the minister, I would like to allow for the honorable member that has just joined us to introduce herself so that we receive the submission of the minister. Honorable, please.
Thank you,
Mr. Chairman, this concession, first of all, the concessionaire, Tibet Hima, was contracted by government in 2013. Performance of the Kilembe Mine concession, whose concessionaire, or the concessionaire therefore was Tibet Hima. And this was a concern to His Excellency the President. It was also a concern to the members of parliament from the region, and they kept on asking back and forth questions. And so in 2016, during the budget reading, the President made a public declaration that he was giving my ministry 1 month to actually wind up the concession and get a new contractor on board. And he stated his reasons, and he also stated in Serena during the budget reading his reasons why he felt that the concession has to be terminated. And preceding to that, we came to the House, the members of Parliament from the Kasese sub-region also raised a number of issues about the non-performance of the concession. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, from the file, I noticed all the inconsistencies and the non-performance of the concession, including non-payment of concession fees, including irregularities on how the concessionaire was contracted, and which was questionable by HE because the concessionaire did not have experience, and also questioned by the Chinese firm, or the Chinese ambassador then, that the concessionaire, much as came from China, but also came here as a motorcycle assembler and did not have experience in mining. And the law guides me, and I had to follow the law. The law guides me that I just can't wake up one day and terminate the concession, because termination clauses were inside the concession agreement. And so what we had to do was to read the termination clause with the guidance of the President and with the guidance of my senior minister and the guidance of the Attorney General. We were required to appoint. And so you'd ask a question, why was it me? Because I'm according to the PAD statute, shareholder 50% Honorable Anite Evelyn, by the virtue of my office as the Minister of Privatization, and 50% at the time, the Minister of Finance. And the Minister of Finance, being busy with treasury issues, assigned the responsibility of the parastatals all to me as the Minister of State for Investment and Privatization. So, Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, I therefore then, with the powers vested upon me, I then had to appoint, and of course with consultation with the relevant authorities, Attorney General and the Minister of Finance, we appointed a winding up commission comprising of 6 people. I will just read their names and then we go to the specifics. Mr. Noah Okanso, Noah Edwin Mwesigwa, the chairperson of the commission, who is right here with me, and Mrs. Agnes Alaba, by the virtue of being the head of geological survey in Ministry of Energy, and this was minerals, and we had to get her to be a member, and this was also spelled out in the agreement that she has to be a member. Miss Jocelyn Ateke was a member because she was a staff in a Attorney General's chambers, privatization unit, and she's since not a staff of privatization unit, because I told you the background that this happens all under the ambit of privatization. And the concession agreement also entails that you cannot wind up without the concessionaire. So, Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, we then co-opted, not co-opted actually, as required by law, Mr. Liu Wei Gu, the Chinese contractor, to be a member, and we had Mr. Fred Chakonye as the secretary. So they commenced the details of the winding up commission, and Mr. Chairman, at this point in time, the questions as to how did we wind up and where did we stop, I want to ask my chair, with your permission, the chair of the winding up commission, to read verbatim the issues, but I also want to inform you ahead of time that I have brought to the committee the report of Kilembe Mines Winding Up Commission. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Minister, Honorable Chair, and Honorable Cast. I am able to speak to certain things, even if those were actually within the ministry, and also broadly to the things that we handled and which we were able to review. So I kind of have a dual role, filling in for some other people who, of course, have moved on because, as we know, PU was reassimilated into the Ministry of Finance. Yeah. So, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, I will read through the response that we prepared. After the Honorable Minister had appeared yesterday, and in a bid for us to be focused, we looked again at the petition which had been shared with us, the and went through it and identified the specific areas, basically what is forming the foundation of this petition. That foundation is really in 6A to E. That is where the crux of the petition lies. The end where they say wherefore is just a summation of that part. And so the response has focused in addressing those particular issues. Thereafter, of course, we'll be happy to provide any guidance required and any clarification. I must point out, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, that Tibet Hima, after the end of the concession, went to court in respect of that termination. They filed matters in court. They sought an injunction to stop exactly what they are petitioning under the last B1. They asked for permission from the court to hold government from advertising or procuring somebody else. The court listened to their application, threw it out. They also had their substantive suit, which was also thrown out. They filed again. That application is also the subject of preliminary objections, and then they withdrew it. And then there's an attempt now, we believe, for them to also file another proceeding. The bottom line, and I am not a court, but I can tell you, unfortunately, my colleagues in the profession in the room will confirm that this agreement had an arbitration clause. They have never invoked that arbitration clause. It is 7 years since. They are even barred by limitation at this point in time from pursuing anything. So I just felt I would make those observations just to help this committee appreciate that the petitioner may be trying to use this committee as an appellate institution against a decision that was issued by the judiciary. So to speak, they are using the legislature to appeal and overturn what the judiciary has already addressed. So in terms of the response, and I will read it, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. This is in response to the invitation reference, which is listed there, which was dated the 26th day of September 2024 from this committee in Regardton by Tibet Hima Mining Co Limited, which is abbreviated as Tibet. To Parliament of Uganda. According to Tibet, government did not fulfill her obligations and hence...
Procedure, Chair. Chair, has been handled by the courts, and there is a ruling toward it the same. We can't just let him continue as if we've not had that. I would wonder whether we're proceeding well with such a serious statement on record, and we proceed when this committee has not deliberated on that and a ruling taken about the same. Thank you.
More clarification, Chair, before you rule on that. Honorable Chair, thank you very much. I need to be informed or educated. If I can remind myself very well, the Minister introduced the gentleman beside him as the chairperson winding up commission. All right? And I want to believe that you are not working under the Ministry of Finance. Now, this response has been signed by the Minister of State for Investment and Privatization. I would think it would be appropriate for the chairperson winding up commission to give a response which he himself has appended his signature on. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, colleagues. I also believe that I understood that he is a private practitioner. And I want to agree with you that other than the minister herself, the only other government official who could read a document on her behalf is a permanent secretary, PSST, or an officer designated by him or her. And this is also in line with the public service standing orders, where they swear the official oath and the oath of secrecy as public officers. But the minister is here. I think she will be able to make her submission. Just a second. And then the second issue that Honorable Oshabe raises, yesterday the minister alluded to the fact that there had been judgment that had been entered by court regarding this matter. The chairperson winding up committee has also said so. I did not want to take the committee into debating that aspect of it, because unless we want to typify this as a court hearing, I would want to think that I just wanted us to receive the submissions that are being given as submissions. And then you take note, and we come back and resolve each one of them one by one. Because the chairperson who was reading the minister's statement stating that, you see, the concessionaire or the petitioner wants to turn Parliament into a body that will overturn the decision of court. We are not here as an appellate court. We are here as the legislature, with our powers clearly specified in the Constitution and also detailed out in the rules of procedure. In the event that there is a belief that this court is attempting to overrule a decision of the courts of law, there's also a process of challenging that. This committee processes assignments that are given to it by the Parliament of Uganda. This matter came before Parliament on the 18th of April 2024. The presiding officer then, on that particular occasion, chose that this matter be referred to this committee. I am sure that she's guided very well by a team of 4 legal experts as well. If, in her wisdom, this matter did not merit to go through this process, it should have been stopped on that occasion. So I believe that let us take the statements of the council as statements that any other witness may mention in court, but it does not mean that we should end here. Because at the end of the day, Honorable, I will come back to that. At the end of the day, yes, we can choose to do this hearing in the way that Honorable has guided. First, there is a mention of court already decided on this matter, and we want to go in the line of until we adduce evidence of a judgment before we continue. Then we will do that. Then at the end of the day, another issue will be mentioned. Then we'll stop and want to conclude that. At the end of the day, it will be a protracted process that doesn't end. My belief is once an allegation or a statement is made here, we take note, and then court comes back to resolve them as issues that have arisen during the hearing. That is my humble appeal. But just before you come back, the colleague Honorable Nora had her hand up before this. Nora first. Then
yeah, Honorable, and listen to sland friend, not so? And who is supposed to be in private practice, but appointed by the Ministry of Finance. What I would desire in this hearing, to you as a person, as the chairperson of the Winding Up Committee, to take that responsibility of presenting to us what actually transpired, you in your own words, and you append your signatures, because we shall be able to lay on table. This one that will lay on table will be from the minister and not from you. Honorable Chair, I think we are not proceeding well on this matter.
But Mr. Chair,
I think it's best to bring it out early so that as the committee deliberates and retires to go and make its final report, it has that in its mind, and by then it will have received information that actually supports or corroborates that information. Now, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members, as I indicated, under where 4B1, the petitioner filed an application and applied for an interim order, filed a temporary injunction and filed for an interim order of stay, trying to stop their removal from the site and stop government from issuing to somebody else. That was determined by the court. They threw it out. It is in, it's unfortunate, Chair, that because I was also only informed yesterday, and of course my bunch of documents are quite voluminous, but if anybody just took the trouble to Google court dismisses Tibet Hima, if you Google now, you will find it. It ran in the papers. That story ran in the papers. But Honorable Chair, in the interests.
let me come in. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, first of all, thank you. I love the way you're proceeding. I just wanted to confess that I actually did sought for permission to let the chair, because of the legal issues, to read my statement verbatim. But that doesn't mean that I cannot read. So I just want to assure you that I'm very happy to take it on with Tibet Hima and respond to these issues, because I am very convinced and confident that we did the right thing in the interest of our country. And that Tibet Hima failed, and that whatever we did is right. Whichever court they go to, we will win. Now, that stated, I just wanted to tell the chair and the honorable colleagues that when you told me yesterday that you did not want the Attorney General in the room, you wanted to interface with the Attorney General independently, I wanted to bring the issues concerning the case that was thrown out, which he's alluding to, and the fact that this matter was handled by court, and the fact that Tibet Hima also withdrew in a third instance. The Attorney General told me to inform the committee that he is ready to take it on with Tibet Hima in the courts of law. But should you want him to come here, he will come with the case files and with all the detailed information. And so he wouldn't give it to me, knowing that he is the one who is the legal advisor of government, and I am not. I am a journalist by training and a business lady by training. So really, I couldn't do the legal workings of government of Uganda. So the Attorney General took the responsibility to bring it to the committee. Should you, Mr. Chairman, insist that we should bring the case files, I would kindly ask you to put it in writing for the Attorney General to bring it to the committee.
Now, before Honorable Chivalia comes, I want us as colleagues, with the due respect, not to attempt to use legal semantics, otherwise assignment before the committee. If I heard the chairman of the winding committee clearly, the matter that court determined was an application for a temporary injunction to stop the process of eviction and the like. That was not the main application of the matter. I am also aware, albeit unofficial, a matter that I will know from this meeting during the interactions with the respective witnesses, that actually Tibet Hima, together with the ministry, were advised by court to seek an option of arbitration. So there should be no recourse to people coming to stampede the committee and say there is a judgment and the matter was determined and dismissed. That is not true. Number two, I would like us to allow for this committee to receive the information that it has desired to receive. It is on the basis of that information that we shall carry out analysis and examination. I want to persuade each one of the honorable colleagues here and the witnesses here to believe that there is the aspect of reasonableness and there is the aspect of fairness and justice that this committee pursues. And therefore, no one should presume the decision of the committee even before it has been able to receive information that will help it make a decision. I do not seek to become a judge of the High Court. Therefore, I cannot demand that court case files will be brought here. But as of now, the party that I serve in Parliament has assigned me as moderator and chair of the Committee of Environment and Natural Resources. And therefore, in as far as a matter is brought before this committee, the rules of procedure of Parliament allows for me to invite all officers of Parliament who serve in the executive to appear here and give this committee information and evidence that allows for it to make its decisions. If the officer chooses that they should come here with a court case file, they will come with it and tell us, and then we will decide what is useful for us in that file and what is not. But it's not our job to do the work of the courts of law. Honorable colleagues, be that as it may, for today, we must find a way to proceed with this matter. The consultations that are outside the whims of this committee will be done. The decision on the report of this committee will also be made by the plenary. This committee has no power to terminate an assignment that has been brought before it. And even if it had to, it has to do so with a report that has sections, paragraphs, and clauses that justify whichever decision it takes. For us to be able to get to that point, we must be able to hear all those that have been put in the line of the matter before us. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like at this juncture that we receive the submission of the minister and we discuss other matters there too after the submission has been made. I thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
That can guide us on how we proceed of a matter which either has been ruled on or is before court. I don't know whether we have a legal person.
Okay. Honorable Shah, to be resourced by those persons. In this, there's a gentleman called Raymond across there. There's a lady here called Hadija Yahaya, Principal Legal Counsel. I am more privileged than any other chairperson that the clerk in charge of this committee, Mr. Muhammad Rukidi Mpuga, is also a lawyer. I want to ask you, in respect to the
reports in particular are not subject of this petition. And as it is, and within the law, there is nothing that bars the committee to proceed and listen to the petition. So it's my opinion, Chair, that we continue and listen to the Honorable Minister and with your guidance, Chair. Thank you.
The legal officer has said, first of all, I want to make it clear. I want to proceed with your guidance.
Yes, go ahead.
And read my statement and respond to these questions. Like I said, I'm ready to meet with Tibet Hima and face off with them anytime, any day, because I know government is right. But she has prompted me to say this point. She said that the matters that are in the petition are not what is in the High Court. Unfortunately, there are two prayers of the petitioner. The first prayer is not, but the second prayer, in the interim, the petitioners further pray that Parliament holds the ongoing advancement and subsequent procurement process related to Kilembe mines and the investigators, the reasons, actually it's this one, the A, B1. This is exactly what Tibet Hima did in the court, and the court threw it out. That was their request in the courts of law. And the court threw it out. And as government of Uganda, we proceeded and we have procured an investor.
Actually, the final determination of the issue, because what was the basis, was the dismissal was on the injunction. There was no complete determination of the issue. That is the basis for
That's
my,
what you're right.
yes, that was the clarification.
Part of it is
Ladies and gentlemen, just Honorable Chief itself, in as far as a stay of execution of some of the decisions is concerned. However, the main merits of the matter were not concluded. You know, because of the insistence of Honorable Nsamba, legal counsel probably, for one reason or the other, has mentioned it, but in a way that triggers the minister to go back to where we departed from. I want to request Honorable Chibalia, maybe, to say what you'd like to say, and we allow the minister to some decision that is going to be made. There is usually a tendency by many people to attempt to deny the process of information sharing in order to defeat a process. Unfortunately, we forget that we serve a government. A government is guided by governance systems. Governance systems are developed and improved over time. So even when the ministry may be correct, even when Tibet Hima may have a case, this particular matter allows for Uganda, the Parliament of Uganda, and the government of Uganda to learn from some of the governance issues there are too, so that in the future we make decisions on behalf of government or with our partners that are in the interest of the common good. So when you get a matter before you, don't defeat it without getting to listen to the important learning lessons from it. That is why courts of law sometimes try to avoid deciding matters on technicalities, because you lose the opportunity of future reference from decisions that courts make over time. Honorable Chibalia, please.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, in your communication, I heard you very well as requested. And after these interactions will guide us in the subsequent required interactions, where you will invite different people who will be required to enrich the petition. So I am very convinced that even given the chairperson winding committee is here, you never know. Time may come when you need to invite that committee, including the chairperson himself. So I request through your office, Chair, that today we listen to the minister. Since you communicated and said we shall listen to the minister, the outcome of the minister's discussion will guide the next step. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The response to T on environment and natural resources of Parliament of Uganda regarding the petition by MS Tibet Hima Mining Company Limited concerning the termination of their concession agreement with Government of Uganda. Introduction. This is in response to the invitation reference AB 287-50701 dated 26 September 2024 from the committee in regard to the above petition by Tibet Hima Mining Company Limited. To Parliament of Uganda, according to Tibet, government did not fulfill her obligations, hence the allegations that it resulted into loss to both Tibet and government of Uganda. 2, it should be noted that the signatories to the concession agreement signed on 6 September 2013 were the government of the Republic of Uganda, Kilembe Mines Limited, and Tibet Hima. The key objectives of the concession were to promote the rehabilitation of the Kilembe mines, commercializing, exploit the Kilembe mines ore and the mineral reserves, create jobs, generate revenue for government, commence the exploration program without delay, design, contract, and install machinery for explorations of the tailings and raise financing. KML, which is in full Kilembe Mines, as the asset holding company, was responsible for monitoring the performance of Tibet and on behalf of government. In addition, they were responsible for taking care and maintaining the non-core assets of Kilembe Mines. This is therefore to respond specifically to the issues identified in the petition under 6A to E and provide information to the committee as follows. B, issues raised by Tibet on government of Uganda. The first issue is that government failed to hand over Kilembe Mines to Tibet by 9 months from the date of entering into agreement. The delays, this is my response, the delays in handing over Kilembe Mines were attributed to the need to meet the requirements of transferring to Tibet the relevant license in line with Clause 2.1.1a of the concession agreement. However, the concession agreement allowed the concessionaire, that's Tibet Hima, to commence and continue preliminary activities for which consent had been received, especially recruitment. The delays are explained below. A, license transfer. According to the Mining Act 2003, Tibet was required to apply for the transfer of the exploration license, and the application had to be accompanied by the relevant supporting documents. These were only availed to Kilembe Mines Limited on 11th December 2013. Annex 1, I did extend to the clerk the annexes, please do. Okay. Based on their delayed submission, the transfer was effected on 3rd January 2014 with regards to the specific mining lease, SML. This was transferred on 28th March 2014. This was done notwithstanding the fact that Tibet had not submitted the key documents, especially bank statements and audited accounts. B, asset handover. Tibet delayed to deploy their team on ground. The project manager and division heads were recruited on 16th April 2014. You can see the annexes attached, 1 and 2 and 3. In fact, on 29th April 2014, Tibet asked for 2 more weeks to be in position to take over. See the joint meetings to discuss the same 3.1 Roman 3 of the Annex 5. However, by 15th May 2014, Tibet had neither provided the recruited staff as required under the clauses below, the clauses 3 to 14.1 of the concession agreement to operate the assets, nor the insurance cover for safety. You can also see that in Annex 5. Based on these delays, the project manager, through email, requested that the handover be on 1st June 2014, and this was done as attached, as seen in the attachments, as Ida earlier noted. This did not have to wait until the mine is handed over. 2, another question. Reduce the concession period. Tibet alleges that government reduced the concession period. Reduce the concession period from 25 years to 15 years without any explanation. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, this is very not true. The maximum duration of the renewal of the mining lease under the law is 15 years. At the expiry of the lease, the same may be renewed. That is what is stated. At the time of the concession, the lease was already running. Tibet simply had to operate within the existing lease and shortly before expiry, apply for a renewal of another statutory 15 years. The contractual period was never reduced at all, and therefore it's not true. Tibet Hima alleges that government failed to provide the necessary permits and licenses. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, as indicated in 4A above, Tibet delayed and or failed, actually the point is failed, to fulfill the necessary conditions precedent for them to be facilitated with the required license. Therefore, the delays were occasioned by failure on their part to enable the authorities to facilitate them accordingly. Tibet failed. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, Tibet alleges that we did strip assets and equipment belonging to them. This is not true, owing to the following facts. Number one fact, the concession agreement provided for Kilembe Mines to scrap items by the commencement date, 27th November 2014, and for the same not to be handed over to the concessionaire. That is as agreed by both parties. Clause 3.2, Clause 3.2e as reference. In addition, Tibet was to return to Kilembe Mines the considered assets not in use. You can also see Clause 3.2, Clause 3.3. And Kilembe Mines to dispose of those considered but reach end of life. You can also see that in Clause 3.2 and 1.1, the clause is there, just to save the committee's time. B, the Board of Directors of Kilembe Mines authorized and registered a resolution for the scrapped items to be sold and the proceeds themselves be part of the revenue budget. You can see that in the annex below. That C, Kilembe Mines jointly with Tibet marked the items for scrapping. You can see the annexes attached below, just to save the committee's time. I presume that we all have the copies of what I'm reading. D, issues in the project steering committee meeting, and it was resolved that the Solicitor General be contacted for interpretation and later reviewed affirming Kilembe Mines' position. Also, it is there, the annex is attached. Unsatisfied, Tibet sought and got the attention of the Minister of Investment and Privatization on this matter. Indeed, I had an interaction with them and I faced them off and they considered they had failed. Tibet was illegally transacting on scrapped items and attempted to frustrate a legal activity. You can see the annexes of how they actually attempted to frustrate the legal activity. Unlawfully, this is another point, unlawfully and without regard to the contractual terms, Tibet Hima accuses us of terminating the concession agreement. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, this is not true. The termination of the concession granted to Tibet was conducted in accordance with the express terms of the concession agreement, and after granting Tibet considerably leeway, the opportunities to measure up to the contractual obligations. Mr. Chairman, just in addition to that, we have come with the report of the Kilembe Mines Winding Up Commission, and I will make the chairman just to summarize his report, give you the executive summary of his report before I conclude my submission. And it will be in his own words under his signature, just for the comfort of the committee members. In December 2015, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development issued Tibet with a notice of default for failure to pay the annual concession fee. Honorable colleagues, this is why I said I'm ready to face Tibet Hima anytime, any day, because what they did was not fair to the country and the citizens of Uganda. They failed to pay the annual concession fee of $1,005,000 by 26 November 2015. Tibet Hima failed to provide a written undertaking from all consortium partners by 26 November 2014. Tibet Hima failed to provide an exploration guarantee by 1st July 2014. Tibet Hima failed to submit a feasibility study for the development and construction of a copper smelting or beneficiation plant, the smelter project, by 26 November 2015. Tibet Hima failed to submit a feasibility study for a project to process the tailings into cobalt, the tailings pond project. They failed. Mr. Chairman, in response to the notice of default in January 2016, Tibet requested for a formal meeting with government to discuss its proposals for curing the defaults. Subsequent meetings were held in April 2016 and also May 2016, and again in June 2016, during which Tibet agreed to constrain to certain renegotiation timelines within which to address its outstanding breaches under the concession agreement, and committed to meet all the obligations under the concession agreement. Mr. Chairman, I can comfortably say they did not. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, in April 2017, the Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, based on the Tibet's failure to meet its obligation, issued a notice of termination. This is my senior minister. Issued a notice of termination of 25 years Kilembe Mines concession granted to Tibet, and which was received on 5th May 2017. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, Tibet replied to the termination notice on 19th May 2017, seeking further indulgence from government and for suspension of the notice in order to cure the defaults. In June 2017, officials of government and Tibet met, and in show of goodwill, granted Tibet more time to cure the defaults, thereby withdrawing the termination notice of 18th April 2017. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, we were nice people, you have seen. Mr. Chairman, a fresh termination notice, when we granted them, they could not behave. Mr. Chairman, we had to issue a fresh termination notice dated 20th June 2017. That became effective from 5th July 2017, was subsequently issued, giving Tibet a 60-day time to cure. In accordance with the terms of the concession agreement, the Minister of State for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, in charge of investment and privatization, acting on behalf of government, with the concurrence of Tibet, proceeded to appoint a winding up commission, which winding up commission is represented by two people, the chairman and the secretary. A winding up commission, which comprised of the members that I have told you. There are 6. I did alluded to that earlier on. Mr. Chairman, allow me proceed. In October 2017, the Winding Up Commission finalized and presented its report, noting that the concession agreement stood terminated and recommended that 1, Roman 1, Kilembe Mines and all considered assets in particular be returned to government of Uganda in accordance with the applicable provisions of the concession agreement. We did not revent the will, we stuck to the concession agreement. 2, government of Uganda, if resources permit, arranges to operate the Kilembe mines and resume the care and maintenance of the mines. 3, Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, in alternative and subject to applicable procurement rules and guidelines and any other legal and contractual requirements, arranged for the qualified replacement operator to continue the operations of Kilembe mines. Whereas the concession terminated in September 2017, we directed Kilembe Mines Limited to take over almost 6 months later, giving time, hoping that Tibet Hima would improve. Tibet was not surrendering will improve by giving us our assets. Tibet Hima was not surrendering the assets or complying with the provisions of the concession agreement. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, on instruction of immediate takeover, Tibet was requested in writing for organized handover, but ignored the same, and principal staff would live under the cover of darkness. Mr. Chairman, the police and representatives of the Operation Wealth Creation assisted Kilembe Mines in security strategies to protect a national strategic resource. Mr. Chairman, the CA, or the concession agreement, provided for clear dispute resolution provisions. Tibet was sought redress in courts of law and necessary. And is an attempt, this guy's attempt to appeal against the decision of the court. Mr. Chairman, we restate that point. The court also to circumvent the dispute resolution provision in the concession agreement. Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, in my conclusion, basing on the above, the termination of the concession granted to Tibet was done in accordance with the law and the express contractual terms of the concession agreements. We have not broken any law, and we are very proud of what we did. Mr. Chairman, Tibet failed attempts at the Kilembe Mines costs, failed attempts at Kilembe Mines cost the government of Uganda considerable sums in lots of revenue and jobs. Mr. Chairman, to fully conclude, allow me as the chairman to summarize give the executive summary of the Winding Up Commission report. No, not part of my report, just to elaborate. And it's not under my signature, and the report, Mr. Chairman, I would beg to lay for the committee.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Shabi.
Chair, if I got you right, based on, first of all, I want to thank the Minister for this elaborate response. Thank you. But Chair, looks like from Honorable Nora's request and from Honorable Chivalia's request, we said we will meet the chairman in a different forum where he will present.
You have ably told us what Tibet was supposed to share with the Treasury, the National Treasury, which they did not. So we would like to see this law says, because also Tibet is sharing that they have also lost a lot. So who is losing what? Who can gain from what? How can each of the two parties sort themselves out with what each party has parted with? That is not coming out clearly, because for you are saying he brought a loss to our country, but they are also saying the country brought a loss to them. So that is where I wanted to get clearance. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Chair, so much as to the genesis of where this problem started, and how I wish the chairman, when he will be coming, and his team should have a lot of emphasis to address to us on the core of how this concession was reached. However, Chair, I am re-echoing what Honorable has said. These notices of termination and no termination were so short. So short. Why? Really, in such an investment, why would you say 1 month? What impact would come up in 1 month? What confidence would be generated in that 1 month when you're already scared? We need really to look at that. Then when you look at K, on instruction of immediate takeover. So it means the team to take over was just watching. They were hanging behind there. On the instruction of immediate takeover, Tibet was requested in writing for organized handover. Of course, there's a hand back, but I know handover, but ignored. And the same, and the principal staff would live under the cover of darkness. Honorable Minister, this is a ping pong of why would darkness? So someone was still grabbing something, or they're trying to run away with. What is it? So just highlight this for us, so that we cure this suspicion. The suspicion is hovering either way. Thank you.
Chair, thank you, Honorable Mura. Chair, I've requested when you go to 80F, Honorable Minister in business, just check. In June 2017.
8F of the minister's submission?
Yes. 8F. Are you there, Chair?
Yes, I am.
8F.
In June 2017?
Yes, in June 2017, officials of government and Tibet met, and in a show of goodwill, Chair, the word, in a show of goodwill, granted Tibet more time to cure the defaults, thereby withdrawing the termination notes of 18th April. So they withdrew it in June. Chair, G, after F, G, a fresh termination note dated 20th June. 20th June. They met in June. They sent another fresh termination on 20th June. That becomes effective. So that is where, so the same period you meet, after the meeting you close the door, you reach there and then you send a fresh one. So Chair, even if you are the person in business, you are not settled, you even fear to invest further. That's the small thing I wanted to add.
Okay, no problem. The minister has taken notes. She will come back to it.
13. 4 years down the road, the concessionaire had failed. 4 years down the road. So my colleagues who are talking about months are being unfair to the minister. Honorable Chair, I'll use an example of this hospital, our hospital here. Of Peneti, where someone came, lied to government, I'm going to build a hospital, and the government, I think now they're on their knees because there is no hospital that was promised. Now, for me, when I hear us saying that 4 years down the road is little time, I think we don't love this country ourselves. I want to stand with the minister. For the first time, I'm supporting government's decision on this matter. Very many agencies, people get contracts and concessions here, and they have nothing to show off. And we want the government to be acting like this. We give you work to do, you don't do work, we give it to another person. I think that's the right way to do this. And Mr. Chairman, I want this committee, I'm calling up upon this committee not to go with the moral, because now I'm hearing the moralist now coming in to say now, within 1 month, you would have given them another 4 years, at least to start, thinking about what to do. But Honorable Chair, 4 years down the road, government is losing revenue. Government is losing money. We cannot sit here to say that Tibet, unless Tibet can come out to say that I was failed by government during this period, then I can probably hear them. But for now, I really want to think government took a right decision to end this concession. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Shabe. I have given.
Which has been taking all our taxpayers' money our money for many years. The contract has never been terminated, but the one which has been terminated here is where somebody is investing his own money. So you can put that one and know who is the rate payment and the other one. But Chair, before we go very far, I want to agree with him partly that we shouldn't have these long contracts and which are not delivering. But if I can refer to the minister's submissions from yesterday, when she said that they even had a meeting with the president and the contractor, Tibet, explained how there were some fraudulent engagements during the processes of procuring him as a contractor. The minister said it yesterday, and she even said that some names were mentioned for the president, though she didn't mention them. And today, Mr. Chair, you guided us that anything we do in this committee is for the good of this country. Even if we leave this thing to just go, I know if we don't put solutions, even the new contractor may have similar challenges. Because if the other one had issues of bribery, some key people getting money from him, possibly that's why he started when he had no money. Maybe they had extorted all of it from him. So, Mr. Chair, we should make it clear now. If the other process was fraudulent, how sure can we be that this other one that is ongoing is also not fraudulent and that at the end of it all to not also collapse? Mr. Chair, the minister said in her submission that when they were sourcing this contractor, it was sourced wrongly, that it is a motorcycle assembling company and was given a task to mine. Whose fault was that, Honorable Oshabe? That was the fault of government, corrupt people who we think got money from this contractor and gave him a contract. You cannot give a bicycle making company mining work. So if the fault was at that stage, we are sure they have realized the mistake. But I want to thank Honorable Evelyn because he's trying to clear it. He's trying to clear this. So you cannot blame somebody who came and fooled you for you being foolish. Somebody came and fooled you and you accepted, and you are blaming him and now terminating him. That is anti-parliamentary, but I'm saying it. So somebody came and teased you around, okay, I'm withdrawing the one of foolish. You were teased and fell in the trap, and eventually you're blaming him for his wisdom of teasing you. So, Mr. Chair, I see some problems which started right from the procurement of the company to do the work, part of government. That's why possibly Tibet had issues. Another issue you have to raise it, and you can without fear of any contradiction. Chair, if you are married to a woman, I'm using it as an example because that is my area. If you are married to a woman and you fail to perform or you don't have enough money, and your woman gets married to your neighbor who has maybe enough manpower and enough money, but and stays in your neighborhood, chances are high you'll keep the jealousy with you, but you don't have the money and the capacity to manage the woman. If government wants to empower itself, why can't it empower Kilembe Mines Company, which it calls the supervisor, the monitor, which has no money, but the other guy has come with money, is investing, you are supervising, you don't have money, you are begging these people to pay for electricity, and you are the supervisor, and you want the thing, your woman is there being taken by another man who has money and who is performing better than you. Why can't we look at capitalizing Kilembe Mines instead of causing this confusion we're seeing? I can assure you, Honorable Minister, even if you give another company and these guys are there supervising and are struggling and you are pocketing them, coming them in this meeting, they will still fail them because they will be doing the role of whistleblowing to you. They have failed on this, they have put this little fuel, they have failed on this, because I'm seeing this scenario of conflict, of a conflicted partner in this. Because these were the major partners when we read the agreement, but they had also interest, I'm sure, and they can also be, in fact, me, I'm on the state for them to be capitalized, to manage their own people, their own thing, than you people bring them external people and cause conflict, and there's nothing which will succeed. And this man may be a local person. That's why you hear even local MPs came in. He knows how to play his politics. he will convince the MPs to come in and engage with you, and the president has to come in also because he's also a politician. So that is just for you to get that information. That one is covered. I'm about to go to the presentation because I have many issues here. Chair. Chair. Okay, let me just go to the presentation, then get me the other things. One of the most important things I picked, Chair, let me not even read, from the submission of the minister. This was not our first time to interact with different people. We even interacted with Minister of Energy. There are some things the minister seems to be hiding from this committee. Mr. Chair, I have on file some evidence of engagements between the minister, the privatization unit, General Saleh, Tibet, and some other corresponding amounts of money which were submitted to the privatization unit account confirmed by the minister. The minister's representative, because the person who wrote the letter is here, and the account details. Around that, and that money was paid around 28 August 2017, after all these notices of termination. Now, much as the Honorable Oshabe doesn't want us to bring that humanitarian part of it, why did the ministry continue to receive an amount of $1.75 million US dollars from a struggling company which had been robbed by government officials, and we continue to receive their money when you have terminated their contract, and you have not given us this? Again, Honorable Minister, in your presentation, you did not give us the clause of arbitration. I don't know what steps you people took in terms of arbitration. Maybe the engagement with the General Saleh was part of arbitration, and even coming here is part of arbitration. And how did he come in anyway? Someone always asks those questions, but me, as my friend, I don't have to ask those questions. So, Honorable Minister, can you really give us the truth of the processes that have taken place, the actual truth? Because we don't want to bring out all this evidence and you appear as if you have hidden information. All of them are here and signed from your office, including the receipt of the money from your office after termination.
You need to correct from the
privatization unit.
Yeah.
You are the means of privatization.
Yes, the privatization.
Sandra, you are the honorable
You
minister.
can't read the account. That's a government account.
It is there. So, but of course, why I raised you were quoted here in the letter. I've not yet finished, but they will come in later again. Chair, I have submitted for now, but I have made more other points.
I wanted us to Minister to respond to this, and then we can start again from Bay and then Honorable Nora. Is that agreeable?
Thank you. I want to start from the last honorable colleague. I'm sorry, I'm not a frequent member. I want to make it very, very emphatically, unit is a government office, and the accounts that the money was deposited to are government accounts, not my account. So, and the money was deposited in order. I'm very happy that you're very well informed. The concessionaire was supposed to give us that money in arrears. I did make reference in my presentation on a concession fee that the concessionaire was supposed to pay government but failed. And however, when he saw that there was pressure to terminate, he then decided to actually advance some money, which was not full of the amount of the money that he was supposed to pay. So he advanced it and paid it to that account as arrears. He was paying the arrears. And that money, the Secretary of Treasury is not myself, it is now Ramadan gov't. If you want further information of how the money then moved from that account to another account, which is the consolidated account, he will give it to you. And the minister who supervises the treasury is Honorable Matiaka Saija. You might want to pick interest and ask how then the money was spent.
Maybe, Minister, for clarification,
yeah,
you don't need to
the chair. I don't want
Chair, for clarification, why I raised her specifically, I can read the letter verbatim.
Yes, go ahead.
The letter is written August 2017 to General Caleb Bakandwa now. From where is the one who's signing? Let me read. Dear General, divestiture account details. Reference is made to the subject in caption. I have been instructed by the Minister of State for Privatization and Investment, Honorable Evelyn Anite, provide you with the details, with the particulars of the divestiture accounts, which are detailed below. However, Chair, if I finish, we don't know how this letter came to force. We don't know the conversation that led to this letter. The account details are there, means of finance, divestiture something, account number is there, Standard Bank, corporate branch, the account is in US dollars. Signed by Moses B. Mwasa, Director Privatization Unit. So when your name is quoted, I cannot run out.
You did good, Mr. Chairman. I want...
Just a second, Minister, you don't respond to him directly. I'm going to give you opportunity to respond to him. I think that what he asked me as chair, I first want to start with it, that he does not know what Moses giving him information detail of the divestiture account on which the money should be deposited. We all know that General Saleh is not an officer of Tibet Hima. He is also not even a permanent secretary or a representative of the divestiture secretary. Therefore, the writing of that letter to him must have been in his capacity as somebody in this whole matter. So I think what Honorable Kataliwa would like to know from you, Honorable Minister, is that since you are mentioned as the person who had instructed for that account to be sent, what was the circumstance that occasioned General Saleh to be the recipient of this account?
General Saleh what was his role in this transaction?
That's a good...
Okay, so the minister, excuse me, colleagues, Honorable Agri Bajiri, colleagues, the minister has understood Kataliwa's concern very well. She's going to address it.
Thank you. So,
Honorable Kataliwa.
No,
can I now answer?
Bring it out well. That information trickled down to the Tibet, and Tibet on the following day paid on, the letter was on 16th, on 25th it paid the money at the same account. So there was very good chronology of the whole thing.
Honorable, what is the money? You said paid the money. Which money?
I see $1,750,000 US. But the good thing the minister said.
So you would like the minister to clarify?
Okay.
Honorable Minister.
Staff of Ministry of Finance. And he who alleges must prove. Now that you have told me that my name was referenced, I have not seen the letter. If you can give me a copy of your letter. And then also the copy of my letter to Mwase, instructing Mwase to actually write to General Saleh. What I did not know whether you have a letter or from your source, whether there's a letter from me saying that you now write to General Saleh to give the accounts. But, Mr. Chairman, to the committee, I want to concede General Saleh's involvement in this case. General Saleh's involvement in this case was when the termination notice was put, the investor Tibet Hima ran to him. So when they ran to him, he then contacted me. Even when he contacted me, we had meetings with him and the president on this subject together with the Chinese. And in that meeting, the Chinese stated how they were conned by government officials that I stated yesterday. And the president asked if there was a corruption tendency. The answer at that point in time was yes. And he said he has punished the people who were involved in that case. So me, I am very happy that with the action of General Saleh, his coming in made us at least to get some little money from the concessionaire. The truth is, Honorable Chair, you've interacted with the committee. They don't speak good English. Sometimes even they don't speak English at all. General Saleh's interpreter who works with the Kapeka, who speaks good English, was the one who actually would interpret on behalf of the Tibet Hima. So, and I want to say that to now go to the other questions that you have asked. Why didn't we terminate? Why did Tibet Hima actually fail to meet its obligation? The problem was from the foundation. If you have a wrong foundation, you're bound to fail. And I want to really thank Honorable Osabe for patting government on the shoulder today, but also questioning us as government that we must not do this. For me, I have a responsibility to my country to make sure that in my tenure as a minister, the right thing has to be done. That's why, Honorable Minister, Honorable Chair, and Honorable colleagues, I am very proud that I actually appended my signature to terminate the contract of a boda rider who came as assembler, who came and purported for 4 good years to say that they're coming to create. We have lost 1 million jobs that would be in that place. 1 million jobs. Before Kilembe lost its glory, we had 1 million jobs. Today, we're talking about only 50 jobs. Tibet Hima has no jobs, and as government, we're supposed to look on. For me, I am very proud. If I am supposed to be fired because I fired Tibet Hima, I am very happy about that. Because I did my job, I could not accept to see a company that has no capacity being given the responsibility to manage government resources. And that resource is big. It is a resource which comprises of minerals, gold, copper, cobalt. So for me, I want to be on record that I am very proud and happy for what I did. I don't care the consequences thereafter. To continue.
Colleagues is giving evidence to the committee that she has no regrets in terminating a contract of a boda manufacturing company. Now, earlier on in the minister's presentation, earlier on in the minister's presentation, she of course tried to make it very clear that she inherited a process. But as we know, a ministry is an institution. It's not the individuals that occupy it. Is it in the minister's evidence here that the ministry failed in its job in procuring a company of sound capability and capitalization to run the business? Is it also in your evidence that indeed the ministry did not carry out due diligence in ascertaining whether these people were fit for purposes of mining or not? Number 3, Honorable Minister, is it also your evidence that even as of today, your ministry, while winding up committee chairperson was doing his operations, did not do additional double check? If there was no due diligence at the beginning, did you attempt to double check and actually reconfirm whether these people are boda assembly company or not?
Okay. That's why they were terminated. But Mr. Chairman, let me answer you very quickly. Mr. 2016, my predecessors contracted this concessionaire in 2013. I did make reference to the fact that the president talked about it publicly in the budget reading in Serena, and talked about how the ministers were corrupt, and talked about the fact that he is going to take action and fire them. And immediately I was hired, and some other person lost a job. So I do not know whether that was the punishment that he was giving. You can't ask me, but that is what I remember the president saying. 2, can I first continue? 2, Mr. Chairman, you asked me a question. Did we do due diligence? Mr. Chairman, yes, we did due diligence and really opened up and discovered this company had no capacity, and therefore what government did to contract or concession this contractor was wrong. That's why we instituted the Winding Up Commission and then terminated the contract. If we did our due diligence and due diligence report revealed that the concessionaire was competent and really had the capacity, we were going to proceed. But the fact that we terminated, the fact it's just a sign that the concessionaire was not up to the contract. The other question is that you asked me, how much is the loss to government? We lost 1 million jobs. That's the first loss. 2, we lost all that concession fee. 3, we lost an opportunity of revamping Kilembe Mines to its lost glory. We lost that opportunity. So it is financial, material, and social and emotional loss to government of Uganda and the people of Uganda.
Honorable Minister, just as you continue, before Honorable Nora comes, just so that I have, that the report can be able to have reasonableness in it. You're giving evidence in this to this committee that we lost an opportunity for 1 million jobs. Honorable Minister, I want to get, the arithmetic of how this one project can generate 1 million jobs. That would help me, because scientifically it's extremely difficult to comprehend that. But anyway, Honorable Nora, just before me, Honorable Nora, can she raise, then you can respond.
Yeah, thank you very much of carrying out the due diligence. Yes, because as we talk of loss on the side of government, who caused the loss? Yeah, because if you had not given the contract to this man, to Tibet, how would he, or how would they have come in force? Then, how do you continue contracting a person who lacks the attendant documents that are very critical in such huge contracts? Where were the ministers, the technical team, the legal professionals in this country? What really happened? And as we look forward, and as you terminate this guy's contract, we need to see all those people out of their offices and even to pay the loss to government.
Just, hold on, let her finish. Let her finish.
Then, before that, Kilembe Mines Limited, supposed to be kind of the supervisors. I want to know, are there cameras? Because you did mention in your presentation that some of these scrap was being sold out by Tibet. Where were the supervisors when all this was being done? And we also want to have proof of this revenue that you say was being got from the sale of this scrap. How much money was it and where did it go? How much is it as of now? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Maybe before the rest of you, please. It was discovered that the concessionaire had no capacity.
Not only at the time, throughout.
No, throughout.
Yeah.
Okay. I am sure that in order for one to establish the status of a partner in an agreement and to be able to arrive at a decision, there has to be a report. I would like the minister to assist this committee with an official report of how the evaluation happened, and therefore a conclusion was arrived at that this concessionaire indeed was a masquerader at the end of the day. But first finish those, then the colleagues can come back.
First of all, Mr. Chairman.
But Chair, I hope you don't want to.
I have just requested that.
I'm just saying the report should be put. The first report that fully authenticated this investor to have capacity. Yes. Then now the second report that also found out the incompatibility of this. It is important because we have had similar challenges. Our Dongsong project in Tororo, we are waiting for the 1 million jobs. Yeah. We are not seeing the jobs.
That's very true.
Because of similar issues.
Thank you. They say point of donyo. So the point has entered. We have understood that you would require a report that was the basis of the procurement. Yes. And eventually the report that brought out the revelation that the person is incompetent. The minister was that person. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have been in the Ministry of Investment and Privatization, and I'm an investor myself. Yes, I'm an investor in the hospitality industry, textile and manufacturing. So clearly I'm an investor. And I know, just in my small businesses, if I can generate 500 jobs in my small village, my small businesses. 3 businesses, but I have 500 jobs created. So for Kilembe Mines, a magnitude of a mining, we're talking about a mine, and copper, cobalt, gold. You can imagine the direct jobs, number of direct jobs, and from the experience of how Kilembe Mines was before. Kilembe Mines before its termination, I want to tell you that in the colonial days, Kilembe Mines had 300,000 jobs, okay? And this was when its full potential was not even exploited. Now with advanced technology, without exploration, meanwhile, that was done without exploration. What we envisaged in this new concession was that the concessionaire was going to do for us exploration and put for us a refinery, and on top of that, do the different segments, copper, cobalt, and gold separately, and even niobium, and even water, and there's an electricity generation company there. So, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to inform the committee that the 1 million jobs, I stand with it, and they're justifiable, and it's a loss to our country. But to go further, Mr. Chairman, can I finish answering?
I know you will finish, eh? You know, I love us to be extremely investment as Kilembe Mines. As the Minister of Investment, from the time you took over this portfolio, approximately how many other investors who generate at least 500, yeah? The other one's 1 million, 500,000. How many others have we attracted?
Amazing, Mr. Chairman. I need to invite you to
just
tour with you.
Honorable Minister.
And yes, I'll give you.
I'm happy to come for a tour. Just give me an estimate. Then I will
give
tell
you an estimate, Mr. Chairman. I don't even want to go very far. Tororo Cement, which is in Tororo, there are over 2,000 jobs just in Tororo Cement. If you look at Namave Industrial Park, we're talking about 270 factories generating for us over 55,000 jobs. Mr. Chairman, don't stress yourself in the math. First wait, Mr. Chairman, let me tell you, I want us to go into substance. And we should focus our energy on the substance. What is the loss to the country? Okay, let's say that the jobs were only 500 jobs. Or let's say that the jobs were only 10 jobs. But that is still a loss with the unemployment rate. I expected you to come from that background and tell me and appreciate what my pain point. My pain point, Mr. Chairman, here is that we have lost as a country. And we cannot bury our heads in the sand and say, it's okay, even if we have lost, let us continue losing. Mr. Chairman,
so
my predecessors, Mr. Chairman, you gave me a chance to
Honorable, let me
answer.
Let me conclude this because you make a lot of parentheses on it. You know, I just was saying this not because I'm defending, but you see, I don't like sensational talk.
It's not sensational.
Why I bring this up is this, honorable colleagues. If you talk about Namambe, which has 270 factories.
Small factories.
Yes, I just hold on, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, if you talk about 270 and you're talking about 50,000 jobs, I want us to always look at the realisticness of saying one can generate 1 million. Remember, this is a Uganda where today we still report 76% of the youth unemployed. If this was the rate at which the investors are generating jobs, then there would be no employment. So I am not stopping you from speaking, but I would like us to give facts to the record. That is what I am saying.
Mr. Chairman, we do not lie the president. These are factual issues. And I want to tell you, first of all, you've got to be emotional on this issue of Kilembe. Why you have to be emotional is that we before, just go back in the history, and I have told you the potential of 300,000 jobs that Kilembe Mines had was miners exploration. So if you do the exploration and build a refinery, you will attain the number of jobs. There's something called direct jobs and indirect jobs. And the figures that I've given you for Namambe are just direct jobs. But Mr. Chairman, I wouldn't want us to be on the issues of numbers of jobs as a diversion. Let's handle the real subject. The real subject here is that we made a mistake and we concede the mistake as government. That the mistake was that we contracted a wrong contractor. And I am very proud that I came generation after and was given the responsibility and terminated the contract. And you have asked me to come with the documents to indicate that this contractor actually failed. I have the documents. Mr. Chairman, the Ugandans who are the office bearers of that office and contracted the contractor, the Bible tells us that we shall be judged one by one for the sins or the rights that we have committed on earth. They are living. Invite them in this committee. Let them explain to you how they arrived at that. I was not there. And I want to tell you, if I give it to you as a handover report, I will just come here and say, as handed over to me, and here it is. But you need these Ugandans to come and tell you how they arrived at this investor. What were the parameters that they followed? They will come and answer you. For me, I am here to answer why I terminated them, and the reasons are here, and my report is here. I have laid it on table for you, Mr. Chairman. This contractor, Mr. Chairman, demanded of government that just for samples, he needed 30,000 metric tons of copper, cobalt, and gold, just as samples. Now, Mr. Chairman, because you like science and math, so my question, and I'm not here to ask the chairman, because I know the procedure, I don't ask the chairman. But Mr. Chairman, I want to say that it was very wrong in the wisdom of the contractor to think that we could allow him take our God-given natural resources to a magnitude of 300 metric tons, and he takes it as samples. 30,000 metric tons. And for that, it was our point of departure. His Excellency the President, there for whom you think we lie, we don't lie him, at least not me, Anite, I don't. 30,000 metric tons. And the President then said, these resources belong to Ugandans, and he put it in writing, we cannot. And that was the point of departure, and the concessionaire Tibet Hima therefore said, if that is the case, I will not continue with you, and it is in the report of the Winding Up Commission. The other reason why Tibet Hima, and I'm answering my good sister here, Honorable Christine. Honorable Christine said, what were some of the reasons that we failed? That Tibet failed, that Tibet gave us justification of failing. You said, why did Tibet fail to meet the contractual obligations? That was the first reason, and we could not allow to give them the 30,000 metric tons of our copper, of our natural resources, just to take as samples to China for testing. It could not make sense, not to the President, not to me, not to anyone in government. It didn't make sense, and therefore we refused, and that was a point of departure. Another point of departure that made us to not agree, he said that because of the floods. And Mr. Chairman and honorable colleagues, Tibet Hima alluded to the fact of the floods, but the floods were not every day. Okay? In the 4 years. So we couldn't agree with Tibet Hima on this issue of the floods. Those were the two reasons that they gave on our side, why we terminated the concession: failure to pay the concession fee, failure to be on ground for 4 years, failure to meet the contractual obligations as stated in my report to the committee. Mr. Chairman, I thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Honorable.
Technical people. Clarification from the minister and the technical people, because I tried to look at the evidence of Tibet Hima, and I presented to us your last mining lease was issued on 1st January 2016, and the evidence is here. But in your statement, you're saying that this mining lease was transferred on the 28th of March 2014, the special mining lease. But for Tibet, what they presented to us is the one of 2016, of 15 years. Now, about the commencement date, I need some clarification from you, because the annual concession fee, the determination of the fee was upon the commencement date. Now, when you look at the CA, the commencement date is arrived at when all licenses have been issued. And now here, the last license is of 2016, meaning that the first anniversary was meant to be 2017. That's why I'm seeking clarification from you. Because immediately after Kilembe, Tibet taking over, you had started demanding money. And that's why you're saying that they were ready in what? In areas. For Tibet, they are saying, no, you were demanding money, but time was not due. It's not the concession fee, it is. Now, Mr. Chairman, that's why I need the minister to clarify. If the first license was issued in 2016, already in 2015, 2014, you were demanding money. Number two, they had already paid, I think, Mr. Chairman, this one will come when we meet Kilembe Mines Limited, where the concessionaire advanced 300 million through a memorandum of understanding, and their argument is that that was to form part of the annual concession fee. So I need your clarification on that. Then lastly, this one, I think it was confusing me, but I think it should come from you. But the Land Council tried to explain to me, but still I need it from you. That the license, the mining lease license, which was issued, was for 15 years. Yet, the Minerals Act of 2003, if you're issuing the first license, it's meant to be 21 years. Tibet Hima, 21 years. Tibet Hima was given 15 years. So can you try to clarify some of those inconsistencies which formed the part of the confusion? Then lastly, Mr. Chairman, as evidence, because I think when witnesses come, they should always adduce evidence. Does the minister mean to say that Tibet Hima was, because she said it was an assembling company of motorcycles? So, do you mean that when they took over this contract, they even started assembling motorcycles in the mines, that you could now get, you could now be convinced that now this is an assembling company? But when you look at the CA, this company was not alone. It was meant to have even partners. I rest my case, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
5 years. The minister is saying it is not true, it is 15 years. Which one is which? If Tibet knows that the contract agreement was for 15 years, why are they continuously presenting the period of 25 years? Because it's also critical for us. And I'm happy, Chair, that we have observed that there was the capacity of the technical team was wanting during that time. And I want to support the agreement that they appear before us and we actually see where the loophole was. I see this now as postmortem, Chair, you know, from the period of 2013 now to 2024. These are 11 years. What would have been the contribution of this project if they took up its position seriously? Would have so far seen a very great impact in the country. And so I'm trying to inquire whether we had a serious consultant for this project, because this is one of the biggest projects in the country. Did we really have a serious consultant? And what is the position of that consultant? I think we also need to engage with the consultant. Where was the consultant to advise to advise the Minister of State for Investment, to engage the Minister of Finance, so that the determination would have actually been done earlier than the period it was done. And finally, for the Minister, when I look at page 3, 8A, when you are talking about the termination following the law, we also expect you to quote, so that when we scan through the agreement, we are able to confirm this. For the future, it is good to quote the provisions so that the Tibet does not have any support on its side. Thank you.
Thank you. There was, I think, Honourable Minister, you wanted to wind up, so I wanted them to give.
This is the first time I'm seeing a minister come with a private person.
No, he's not an officer. He's not a private person. He's a party. He's actually hired by government of Uganda to wind up the concession. He's not private.
That's
and
why.
officers here.
That's what I'm saying. I trust the words I'm using. For the meetings we have held with the ministers, the technical team that have been bringing are staff of the ministry. You get it? So why I'm saying so, Chair, in your communication, I know, time will come when you need some of these other technical people to respond to or to give information about some other things. But I've seen the minister sharing and consulting, and most of the words are being given by the chair. So at a time when...
Mr. Chairman, the honourable colleague has to withdraw the statement. I have come with my brain.
So you have not been consulting?
I have not consulted him. The words are not from him.
Honourable colleagues,
So you must withdraw that statement.
I
Mr.
can
Chairman,
only withdraw after producing everything, because we have the video coverage that...
No. You bring the video. Mr. Chairman,
Honourable Chair.
He has to withdraw.
Honourable colleagues, you are reaching a point at which we have received very...
One was during the budget reading in Serena. And he also directed in cabinet. And I said that the president is leaving. If you want more information from him, whether he directed this, we can ask him. The committee can write to him and ask him. Because it's in the interest of the committee. Because the committee wants the questions. For me as Anite, I am going to answer you exactly what I have, and I've given you the documents. But Mr. Chairman, allow me to proceed and answer all the other questions.
No, I've not completed. Let me complete. Mine was a second. So, Chair.
So I will not produce a letter from the president because I've told you the venues, he has said it. You can ask the PPU to play for you the president's recordings, and the cabinet minutes, you can ask for it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so Honourable Chibalia, just this. We had you
giving the investor some time as they were, but in all that period, they could not discover that this was a motorcycle assembler, as they were giving him more time. They only discovered when they took a decision. Yet they were extending the negotiations. And lastly, Chair, the minister said, I wonder whether she's also going to deny that the money they received, as evidenced by Donald, was in arrears.
1.75.
In arrears. So I don't know what the word arrears means, and in contract terms, since you see she's near the lawyer who is giving information, and she's but I don't know what arrears mean, Chair, in contract terms.
Honourable Chibalia, I want you to be at peace. We will have council know.
Some money, and then she said the meeting with the General Saleh helped the government get some money from the investor. So as they got that money, what informed their mind? That the investor was going to lose that money, or they had entered a serious undertaking with the investor. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Answer, I think, came from Ulisa, where she was emphasizing the issue of the money that was collected from scrap, where they say Kilembe Mines got it as part of their budget. Because we really need to ensure accountability for that money. Then, too, I had raised an issue of how best...
Honourable Donald, the CEO is here.
I'm fine.
He will also have occasion.
And I had raised an issue of how the ministry, we are looking at the building Uganda, buying Uganda, those things, how the ministry can support the local Kilembe mines to be strong enough to manage itself, and bringing the Chinese bicycle assemblers. 3, and the last, Chair, I heard the minister say that there were a lot of issues in the Ministry of Finance which could have brought a lot of suspicion before she came in. Incidentally, her predecessor is also my predecessor. I want you to guide me if I'm not conflicted, and I will withdraw from this chair because I don't want to have the local politics in my constituency, where her predecessor is my predecessor. I submit.
Let me do the part that I'm supposed to do, then the minister